Now, one striking aspect of the coronavirus response in recent weeks has been the contrast between the four nations of the UK. Decisions on easing lockdown being taken at different times and in different ways. We'll be exploring those contrasts and what they reveal in a series of reports this week, beginning with our Wales correspondent, Hal Griffith.
A gateway to Wales sits 6 miles from the English border. Many here live their lives crisscrossing the political divide.
2 big ones and 2 smaller ones will be all right.
Devolution has allowed Wales to choose different solutions to the same crisis. Here pubs and cafes remain locked down. Schools have reopened and masks aren't mandatory. So how do people feel the pandemic has been handled? Do they think it's brought the UK together or burst us apart? Claire owns a bike shop and has 3 school-aged children. Sophie runs a bakery which supplies the hospitality trade, and Julie runs a care home which lost 10 residents to COVID-19.
We were asking for testing back at the beginning of March, but they didn't come and test us until the 17th of May when we had somebody with symptoms. So it was a long time.
I think some decisions in Wales have been great. We are devolved, so it's up to the Welsh Government to make the decisions and what they think right. It would have been nice to have some kind of structure where everyone was on the same page.
The impact of those decisions will be huge. I've got friends who've already had to make redundancies. Our staff are still in a sort of state of limbo.
During the pandemic, the Welsh Government's decisions have become more directly relatable to people's everyday lives, where they can go, who they can see. Arguably, it's become more relevant now than at any other point in the last 20 years.
Polls suggest there's been a recent rise in support for both Welsh independence and for the abolition of the Welsh Parliament. Most people are still somewhere in between. Mark Drakeford is the man who's led Wales during the crisis. The Welsh Labour leader says moving at different pace to the rest of UK has been a strength, not weakness.
The message across our border has been a bit more, let's rip it up and carry on as though it hadn't happened. Whereas in fact the actual things they are doing are not so very different. But when you send that sort of message, you end up with the scenes we saw in Soho or the scenes we saw on the beach in Bournemouth.
So have they been risking lives?
Well, it's not for me to make accusations.
That's what you're suggesting.
Of that sort. No, you asked me what we had done differently. I think their messaging has led to some unfortunate outcomes. I would be sorry to see those outcomes in Wales.
What we will see here next year is an election, a chance for people to show whether their trust has been won or lost. Hal Griffith, BBC News, Rakan Abu Hatab.